All right, welcome back to ABA exam review and the continuation of our latest BCBA practice exam, where we're going through another set of questions together and breaking them down. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. Please like and subscribe. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials, including our combo pack. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. Let's get going. It is almost lunchtime, and Jake is starting to get hungry. He is debating with himself whether he should drive 20 minutes to his favorite taco shop or if he should just take 5 minutes to make a sandwich at home. What type of schedule does this most resemble? So we've got a reinforcement schedule question. And if you have two or more basic schedules working together, working at the same time, you're going to have a compound schedule. In this case, what is our compound schedule? We know Jake is hungry. He can either drive 20 minutes to his favorite taco shop, so something like a fixed interval 20 to get tacos after he drives, or he can take 5 minutes to make a sandwich, so something like a fixed interval 5 to make the sandwich. In other words, there is one behavior he can do, which is driving, which is going to take 20 minutes to get reinforced, or he can do a different behavior, which is going to take 5 minutes to get reinforced. So we've got two behaviors, two different schedules. What type of schedule does that resemble? A, concurrent. Yes, concurrent is the schedule of choice. It's trying to work on matching the law. And in this case, Jake has a choice. He can engage in one behavior, which is going to take 20 minutes to receive reinforcement, or he can engage in a second behavior, which is going to take 5 minutes to receive reinforcement. So these schedules are working concurrently. Now we have multiple and mixed, which are the same, except one has an SD and one doesn't. With a multiple or mixed schedules, you've got two or more schedules that are operating one at a time, but usually in a random or rotating fashion. That's not happening here. And then a chained schedule is exactly what it sounds like, where you've got schedules that go or chained into each other. In other words, you've got to complete one schedule first, which is going to lead to the second schedule. Again, not what's happening here. We've got two schedules operating independently, but concurrently offering Jake choice. So the schedule here is concurrent. Your phone vibrates, so you pick it up and read a text message that says, "Sorry, I can't make it tonight." You start to feel yourself getting angry, so you reply, "What's your excuse this time?" You then wait for a response. Your reply represents a what? With our verbal operands, we want to know a few things. What evokes it, what reinforces it, and then point-to-point correspondence and formal similarity if it comes to that. In this case, we're looking at your reply. And what is your reply? Your reply is what's your excuse this time. Now, what evoked this reply? Well, the original text message saying, "Sorry, I can't make it tonight." So your reply was evoked by a verbal SD, "Sorry, I can't make it tonight." It lacks point-to-point correspondence, and you're responding to something. So what does this look like? A, attacked. Attacked is evoked by a nonverbal stimulus, and you're labeling something. You aren't tacting anything here. Your reply wasn't tacting anything. What about an interverbal? Yes, because the behavior, your response, was evoked by, "Sorry, I can't make it tonight." Now, a true man, is evoked by a motivating operation. In this case, your behavior was evoked by this verbal stimulus. "Sorry, I can't make it tonight." And then an echoic is also evoked by a verbal stimulus, but it has point-to-point correspondence. Your reply lacks point-to-point correspondence. It can't be an echoic. So ultimately, what does your reply represent? It represents an interverbal. A behavior analyst is monitoring a client's progress using a cumulative record to track the total number of independent task completions over a session. Over time, the analyst notices changes in the slope of the cumulative record at different points during the session. In particular, the slope is very steep at certain points. What does a steep slope indicate? So we're talking about steep slopes relative to cumulative records. And with the cumulative record, we have a graph that always moves up. And why is that? Well, because we're just accumulating everything that's going on. And this is what Skinner, B.F. Skinner used, right? It just keeps track of how many times something happens. So it only goes up. Cumulative record only goes up. Now, in this case, you're looking at independent task completions. And then all of a sudden, we see the slope get very steep. So let's say it's like this, and all of a sudden it gets very steep. So it's skyrocketed upwards. What does that indicate on a cumulative record? A decrease in the rate of responding. Well, if your slope on a cumulative record, say, goes from 2 to 25 very rapidly, we're definitely not going, or we're not definitely not decreasing our rate of responding. If anything, we have an increase in rate of responding. That's what a steep slope indicates on a cumulative record. It's not going to be no responses. When you have no responses on a cumulative record, you're going to have something like this, which is flat. And then a steady state of responding would be more like our original line, which is B here. This would be more of a steady rate of responding. That's not what we're looking at here. We're looking at a very steep slope, which indicates on a cumulative record an increase in rate of responding. You're evaluating the effectiveness of new social skills training program for a group of children. The intervention takes place over 6 months, during which you observe a gradual improvement in the children's social interactions. However, during the same period, the children also receive additional support from a social skills specialist. What threat to internal validity does this represent? So when we're talking about internal validity, we're talking about controlling the behavior ourselves. We want our intervention or our variables to control the behavior. When you have a threat to the internal validity, that means something else is interfering with what you're doing. In this case, what do we know? We know your program is a social skills training program. It's taken over 6 months, or takes place over 6 months, and you've seen an improvement. So that's all great. However, during that period, those children are also getting help from a social skills specialist. So is it possible that it wasn't your intervention, but rather the specialist? It absolutely was. So when you have this outside factor coming into play, what do we call that? A, maturation. Maturation has to do essentially with someone getting older or developing naturally. We're not really talking about development here, getting older, growing more skilled just naturally, because we're talking about this social skills specialist. So what we're referencing is the history. That's what we have here. We have a history of the social skills specialist that is threatening the internal validity of our intervention. When you talk about attrition, you're talking about people dropping out of your study. We're not talking about losing clients or subjects or children here, so there's no attrition. And an instrumentation has to do when you change your measurement system or your data collection system, or something about however you're implementing or measuring what you're doing. Again, not what we're worried about here. What we're worried about is this social skills specialist. We're worried about the history, which is the threat to internal validity. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe. Check out behavioranalyststudy.com for all of our study materials. When you pass your exam, let us know so we can include you in the Sunday shout out. Work hard, study hard. We'll see you soon.